Hey hoodies, welcome back to the Hood Table one more again. It's your girl with an update on a breaking news stories over here in our neck of the woods. Now, as promised, the other day I told you guys that I would be back and I would give an update to an ongoing story that has been going on in our community, and that involves four teens and one 11-year-old child. Altogether, has been running rampant all over our city, and they have been involved in crimes in carjackings and robberies and now murder. Now, you guys, I had told you the other day, I actually had showed you footage of a robbery outside of a local gas station that happened amongst these teens. It was actually 6 kids at that time. So let's tune into that video right now. And on your way in, please make sure you like and share the video. And also feel free to join our membership as well as hit that subscribe button if you are new here. And as always, if you want to donate to the commentary, Cash App is $the Hood Table 402. Now we're going to head over to this good old bean footage on the KETV news website.
Now to that other robbery. The county attorney says the same juveniles were involved in a theft at a Quick Trip.
Yeah, two men say that they were approached by 6 young people at 120th and Dodge. KETV News Watch 7's Alex McClune joins us live with exclusive video from that. Alex?
Yeah, Rob Quinicio, new video tonight showing the moments those 6 people approached 2 men here at a Quick Trip. The new video, disturbing moments. The 2 men say they're grateful to be alive after this happened.
Hey, chill.
That video showing 6 young people approach 2 men, the first victim surrounded in the Quick Trip parking lot, able to break free and duck into the store to safety. The group then turning to approach the second man who's inside a Mercedes. You can see the group was masked and wearing sweatshirts. The victims say some of the boys were armed and demanded a car key and were able to make off with a wallet and $15. The group ran off once the victims called 911. Only 4 of these suspects are arrested. Police are still searching for the other 2 at this hour. Live at 120th.
So that was last Tuesday, you guys. That was a week ago because it is now Tuesday again. So this was last Tuesday when this happened. Again, it was 6 boys ranging from the age. Well, we didn't know their ages at that time, but now we know they were ranging from the age of 11 and up. So right now we're going to go to another news story because the guys were later caught later on that night.
Omaha police take 4 boys in for questioning in connection with an early morning homicide. 63-year-old Mursal Jama died from a gunshot wound outside his house in a neighborhood northwest of 90th and Blondo.
The boys are between the ages of 11 and 17 years old. KETV News Watch 7's Jessica Perez breaks down this case.
The Omaha Police Officers Association says Jama was coming home from working Uber when he was shot. Blaring lights flashed through Jill Iverson's parking lot Wednesday morning after police found her neighbor with a gunshot wound outside his home.
We were sitting here in our living room and just heard this loud pop, and it sounded like a rock hitting our patio door or something, and then I said, well, maybe it's a gunshot.
Mursal Jama died at the hospital. Iverson says her son's security camera caught the whole thing.
You hear the pop, and somebody yells, "Did you shoot?" And then they get in the car and they take off.
Police say the boys stole a black Kia from the area. At 1:15 a.m., Nebraska State Patrol and deputies from Otoe and Cass counties were in pursuit of the same car. Officials say it crashed at 46th and I Street. Then the boys ran. Nearly 3 hours later, police got a call about a suspicious party at 46th and J. 3 boys asked to go inside someone's home. After chasing them down, officers took them in for questioning.
My first thought is, where are their parents at? You know, because when my son looked at the video, he goes, Mom, these kids are like 10, 11 years old. They're not that old.
Officers say the boys are all between the ages of 11 to 17. This isn't the first time Iverson's seen her neighborhood impacted because of the location. She's seen a rash of car break-ins. But this shooting happened just feet from her patio, leaving her rattled.
But I do have concern now for our safety back here now. I do. I'll probably be really paranoid about it.
Police are still investigating. If you have any information about this case, call Omaha Crime Stoppers at 402-444-STOP. Back to you.
Okay, so there again, they mentioned the 4 boys who were arrested. So let's go through like the timeline, you guys, of what's been going on here. So in that video footage of the boys, it was 6 of the boys, remember, to start with, and they were at a gas station, a local gas station, and they approached 2 men. One of them was in the parking lot. I can't tell, or I don't know if he was going in or out of the store, but he was in the parking lot between his vehicle and the car, and the other guy was in the car. Now, the teenage boys, some of them had guns, and the 11-year-old, he also had a gun, and they approached the guy who was in the parking lot walking, and they approached him, but he managed to run back into the store without being harmed or without being robbed. But the other guy who was in the vehicle, they were trying to demand his keys and demand his wallet. They did take off with a wallet. I'm sure the guy, thought, hey, take the wallet. I don't want to die, because we know how this could end up really tragic as it got later on into the night. And then later on into the night, that same night, those boys were involved in the murder. And again, it was another carjacking. This time it was Marcel Jama, and he was killed during an alleged carjacking at his apartment complex near 94th and Plaza in Katy Court. And this was August 13th. Again, you guys, this was 1 week ago, last Tuesday. Now, again, his family said he was coming home from driving for Uber when he was shot, and teens have been charged as adults in Jama's murder, but that 11-year-old, of course, could not be charged as an adult. Now, this next video footage that we're going to take a look at, let me pull that up real quick, because you guys, it's so much involved in this story. You are not going to believe, but we are going to get all into this. One moment.
News tonight at 10. 4 boys between 11 and 17 years old are arrested in connection with the deadly shooting. Officers say a 64-year-old Marcel Jama was shot and killed just before midnight last night. It was near 94th and Katy Court. Investigators say a car was stolen from the scene. Around 1:15 a.m., that same car led multiple agencies on a pursuit. That car crashed near 46th and I Streets. One of the children was taken into custody immediately. Authorities say the 3 other boys were picked up around 4 a.m. near 46th and J Streets. All 4 face multiple charges, including criminal homicide.
Okay, so when after the boys had did the robbery at the gas station, they later on in the middle of the night around 1 a.m., that's when they ran into the Uber driver, and that is when they tried to carjack him, and they ended up shooting him. Now, again, somebody had caught video footage, which they haven't put out yet. I'm sure it's being looked at right now by officials, but I'm sure it's also going to end up being released on, for the public to see. But in that video, again, they heard a gunshot, would sound like a pop, but also sound like a gunshot, the lady said. And somebody's son had caught everything on camera. And then when you hear what was said, one of the kids was like, "Did you shoot him?" Like, as they were like amazed, like, y'all running around like goons in the middle of the night unattended. Never mind the fact that we don't know where your parents are. We're talking 11 through 17. So we don't know where your parents are. You're running around rampant through the middle of the night like goons, like, thugs and gangbangers. And you were surprised that somebody actually shot a gun. Okay, anyway, you guys, so when after they stole the car from the parking lot, what they did was they ended up over South Omaha on J Street. You know what they did? Again, they went to a party. They approached a party, and I don't know what type of party it was, but it was on a Tuesday. And they approached the party, and they tried to get into the party. And you know how that goes when people are involved in a crime and they see a gathering and they just try to get in where they can fit in the crowd. I'm sure that was happening because the police were chasing them. But then the people at the party, they ended up calling the cops because people were trying to get into their house that they did not invite. So that's how the police ended up arresting them and catching up with the other 2 later. Now we're going to go to this next news coverage real quick. And this is going to be attorney Don Klein, and he had something to say about what has been going on with this situation. So let me go ahead and put that on the screen. And again, I'm going to hit mute.
Troubling, difficult, and disturbing.
Yeah, that's what Don Klein and Deputy Attorney Brenda Beadle are saying about the cases. KATV News Watch 7's Waverly Monroe was at their offices and is here with more. Waverly?
Well, Robin Quinicia, while 2 teens will be charged as adults, the 2 others are too young to face certain consequences. And according to state statute, the 13-year-old can't be charged as an adult. The 11-year-old, too young to even be detained. And this concerns Don Klein.
How's an 11-year-old running around all night with a bunch of other people who are running around all night, and they have guns, and where's any parent that's supervising them?
At this point, the 13 and 11-year-old are technically charged with murder, but the 11-year-old is not detained. Again, Klein would not confirm where that child was placed, and we're not naming them because they haven't been charged as adults. And the 11-year-old has had issues in the past. His most recent run-in included an alleged theft of 2 vehicles and possession of a stolen gun by a minor. Klein believes at least 3 of these teens were armed. The 11-year-old suspect waived his hearing earlier. 13-year-old will remain in custody. The 2 others, 17-year-old Trenton Titsworth Hunt and 14-year-old Joseph Keys, will be in court tomorrow morning. Back to you.
Now, as you heard there, that is what I wanted you guys to hear, because not only is our community outraged about what is going on with increase in teenagers and young children running around our city committing all these crimes, because they've been running rampant lately, not just this group of kids, but more. And you hear about the 11-year-old, the one that couldn't be charged. They didn't even really know what to do with that 11-year-old. And then to come to find out that he had been charged in other crimes recently, some within a couple of weeks before this even happened. He had appeared in front of a judge, and the judge was like, I don't know where to put him. He's 11 years old. He's too old to go here. He's too old to go here. The judge ended up just letting him go and sending him back home. That was 2 weeks before this recent crime.
We don't want the older guys giving the younger guys the guns and do the shooting because they know the consequences aren't that great. And you hate to think that's a possibility, but sure seems like.
Rob Quinicia, a juvenile court judge has ruled the 13-year-old suspect will remain in detention. He is facing 6 different counts, including first-degree murder, but because of his age, he cannot be charged as an adult, and we will not be naming him. Prosecutors argue the 13-year-old was in possession of one of at least 3 firearms present during this fatal shooting late Tuesday night near 94th Plaza in Katy Court, saying because of that and his alleged involvement in 2 other armed robberies Tuesday night, he poses a serious threat to the public. Ultimately, the judge agreed, ruling the 13-year-old will remain in custody and be ordered to have no contact with any co-defendants. The 11-year-old suspect did waive his hearing scheduled for today. Because of his age, he cannot be charged as an adult or detained. The 2 other teens involved are scheduled to be in court tomorrow at 9 a.m. They are being charged as adults.
So again, you guys, let's just clear up a few things here. Let me read it again. Trenton Titsworth, 17, Taylor, 16, Joseph Keys, 14. So obviously there was another child who was 13 who was in juvenile in the detention center. And then there's an 11-year-old where they can't even tell where he is. Last time he was sent home. A couple of weeks before that, he was sent home. But this time, I'm sure they didn't send him home. We don't know where he's at. They won't put that information out. But we do know that he got to be somewhere secure, especially after the judge who released him has been under extreme scrutiny ever since he was released. And that judge is Judge Chad Brown. And we're going to get to him next because the community is calling for him to be removed. Now we're going to go over to that news story. Just one moment.
Well, Quincy and Bill, the president of the Omaha Police Officers Association, says the judge could have done more, like placing the teen in a program that would require GPS ankle monitoring. But instead, Judge Chad Brown sent the teen home, even despite hearing some alarming concerns from the child's own lawyer. As an 11-year-old sat in front of a judge July 31st, the legal limitations became quickly evident. At the time, the child faced 5 felonies for theft of multiple cars and having a stolen gun. In the transcript, Judge Chad Brown and the child's lawyer agree a shelter is not the right placement, saying, quote, "But he's 11, supposed to start school in a couple of weeks, and I don't feel comfortable putting an 11-year-old at a shelter." Judge Brown responds, quote, "I'm not going to put an 11-year-old in a shelter. I'll tell you that right now." Judge Brown hears from probation, who expresses how well the child has done in an emergency foster placement and how the Child Saving Institute offered to take him if the court ordered it. But that's at the point where the probation recommends the child be sent home. That's when the lawyer asks for a home program screening, which includes ankle monitoring, as a last effort to keep the child out of trouble, saying, quote, "Unfortunately, I don't know what other pre-adjudication services we have, and I'm just really concerned about this juvenile and the community safety." But the judge sides with probation and decides to send the child home, saying, quote, "What he does between now and these next 20-some days is going to speak volumes to me," end quote.
Could have sent this guy or this 11-year-old to the home program. It's an alternative to detention. He at least could have an ankle monitor, think about his behavior, but instead we sent him home with no legal or with no backing, nobody tracking what he's doing.
14 days later, the child would be arrested in connection with the deadly shooting of 64-year-old Mursal Jama. And that child will be back in court with Judge Brown in late August. Back to you.
Did y'all hear that? Okay, this is very, very alarming. Very alarming because of the simple fact when the 11-year-old appeared in front of Judge Brown 14 days ago, he was facing 5 felonies and more for carjackings, robberies, all kinds of stuff. 11 years old. How are you even facing that many felonies at 11 years old? And where are your parents? Like, did they send him home to just 4 walls? Did he even go home? Does he have a home? Does he have anybody who has custodian over him? That is questions that a lot of people want answers to. Then for the judge to tell him in 20 days, we're going to see, I guess we're going to learn, what's going to happen in 20 days from now. That's literally basically what the judge said. Y'all heard him? Y'all heard him, right? Okay, so I just want to make sure that's very clear that y'all heard them. Now, the Omaha Police Association, they are also, again, not only is the community outraged, but even our police department is outraged. They have posted on their page that last week an 11-year-old appeared in Judge Chad Brown's juvenile courtroom facing his 3rd felony arrest in 2 months. Mind you, he was facing his 3rd felony arrest, but they said in the news report that it was 5. So I don't know if a couple more have been added in there or not, but they said 5. They said facing his 3rd felony arrest in just 2 months. This repeat juvenile offender likes to steal cars, guns, and running from the police. And although Nebraska law prohibits detaining juveniles 13 years old or younger, there are other alternatives such as GPS monitoring, out-of-home treatment, and or measures that can provide some structure, accountability, and rehabilitation. Structure definitely comes to mind. But they went on to say, despite the prosecutor's request for these type of restrictions, Judge Brown denied the request and allowed the repeat violent offender who had previously stolen a gun to return home without any restrictions. Tragically, 2 nights ago, this same 11-year-old was alleged to be involved in the murder of Mursal Jama, an innocent father of 6 who had just finished his Uber shift. This isn't the first time Judge Joe Brown did I just say Judge Joe Brown? Forgive me, Judge Joe Brown. Child, Lord. This isn't the first time Judge Brown's decision on the bench have cost someone their life. Next time it could be someone you love. That is what the Omaha Police Association had to say. There was another post on their wall as well. Let me read this one, because this one, you guys, it's actually two posts on here that I want to read that they have made recently. And one of them, let me go to it right here. It says, in light of the tragic murder of 64-year-old Masal Jama, and out of respect for his family, including his 6 children, we demand that the Douglas County, Nebraska, and the Sherwood Foundation remove TV ads claiming that the county is leading on juvenile justice reform. Mr. Jama was a refugee who fled the violence of Somalia to provide a better life for his family in the United States. He worked 2 jobs to support them and had just finished a shift driving for Uber when he was brutally killed by several young men ages 11 to 17 years old who are repeat violent juvenile offenders. At this time, we ask that you pray for the family of Mr. Jama. Now, in that paragraph that they are calling for the Douglas County, Nebraska, and the Sherwood Foundation to remove the TV ads claiming that the county is leading on juvenile justice reform. Because as we see, it doesn't look like we even have a reform for certain children when it comes to them being not old enough to be put in jail or charged as adults. Now, I'm going to read you guys something here. And again, make sure you guys are liking and sharing the video, please, and thank you very much. But I'm going to read you something here. Also on the Omaha Police Officers Association page, they have in quotations, "You and me will have fun." They said Judge Chad Brown is a danger to Douglas County and our youth. In recently released transcripts, Judge Brown told an 11-year-old suspect, "You and me will have fun," just days before the minor allegedly killed a 64-year-old innocent man. Despite the severity of the situation at the prosecutor's request. Okay? Judge Brown denied any restrictions and claimed he couldn't order GPS monitoring for the suspect due to his age. A legal document and opinion from April 2024 contradicts this theory, and I'm going to read that to you. This is when he saw the judge a few weeks before, the murder, right? The judge said, "I'm going to send you home today, okay? You're not done seeing me. You're going to see me again on August 29th. And if you want to continue to stay at home with your mom and your family, then you need to knock off the nonsense. You're smart enough to know you should not be around a gun. You're smart enough to know that you don't take things that don't belong to you. You are smart enough to know that you do the right thing." The youth said, "Okay." The court or the judge said, "If you cannot do the right things, then I will remove you from your home and I will put you in a foster care setting or a shelter." That's what was said. If you cannot do the right things, then I will remove you from your home and I will put you in a foster care setting or a shelter. The youth, "Okay." The court, "But I'm giving you my word. If you do the right things, I will leave you at home with your mom and your family." The youth, "Okay." The courts, "Do you understand how important this is?" The youth, "Yes." The court, "Mom, do you have any questions for me?" The mother, "No." The court, "Okay, I'll see you back here on August 29th. Miss Courtney is going to stay involved in your life. It's just pretty limited that she can do other than just check in with you. So do the right thing." The youth, "Okay." The court, "You and me will have fun if you do the right thing." Y'all hear that? Let me read that again. "You and me will have fun if you do the right thing. We'll get along just fine," is what I mean to say. Have a good day. See you later. The youth, "Okay." 2:05 p.m. adjournment accordingly. That was in front of Judge Brown. That was a legal document and opinion from April 2024. Okay, so this legal document from April 2024 contradicts his theory that he could not send him to a youth center or a home or anything like that. Not even put a tracking device ankle, device on his ankle monitor on his leg or nothing. They just sent the boy home with his mom. Just sent him home. So yes, the community is absolutely outraged over this. There is so many comments on social media, not only over the judge though. They of course want him to go, but also his parents. They're like, the judge got to go and the parents or parent be held responsible. The parent or parents be held responsible. That's what they're asking. I don't know if it's going to come to that point, but we all do know that recently, over the past few years in different communities across the United States, parents have absolutely been held accountable, and some of them have even faced charges, jail time, and fines for something that their child have done. So you guys let me know, what are your opinions on this? What are your opinions on juveniles, especially the ones who they say they can't put in jail, they can't send to a center, they can't put a ankle bracelet on them. You can just commit all these felonies, run around killing people, robbing people, jacking cars, and the law, like, come on now. The law has to focus more on children who are under the age of 14. 13 years old and under. They're basically allowed to get away with so many crimes, do adult crimes, commit adult crimes, and be able to just walk around, just go back home. Just go back home. Now, I understand exceptions need to be made in random situations, but this 11-year-old has a proven track record already, and he should have never been set free. And now, because of that, someone lost their life. This child, a lot of people believe, deserves to be nowhere but a prison. Now, of course, we can't send an 11-year-old to prison, but what some people believe is that if they put him in a center or some type of detention or some type of home or something, once he's old enough to age out or old enough to go to prison, they honestly believe he should go to prison. Again, exceptions have to be made in different situations, but this judge, his term doesn't end to 2029. 2029. The terms are 6 years long. He was voted in 2022. And if he don't get out of here, then we probably gonna have him again to 2029. And again, this is not the first time he has let somebody go that was underage, and it was a life lost because of that situation. So yeah, a lot of people believe they're it's time to get rid of that judge, time to get him out of here, snatch that black robe back. Okay, vote him out. We also need to enact laws that allow for children doing major crimes to go straight to jail. And if parents cared enough about a child, they would know their associates and what they are doing. 11 years old. 11 years old. Some people, again, believe parents should be financially accountable. Let me know if you feel like parents should be financially accountable. Let me know. Now, some people are also asking, if the child did get a GPS monitor or ankle bracelet or something like that, would that have prevented this? Possibly, I believe. Somebody asked that question, but I believe possibly, because with an ankle bracelet or a monitor, you have to be in a certain location, and if you step too far off that property, they running up. So I think that monitor or ankle bracelet, I think that could have possibly, kept this particular 11-year-old out of that. Now, I don't know if the crime still would have happened, because all these juveniles, like I said, they've been committing a lot of crimes. So if that 11-year-old wasn't with them on that particular day, would they have still went to the gas station? Would they have still went to that parking lot late at night following that Uber driver? I don't know. I do not know. And then keep in mind, just last week, another lady was robbed. She was pulling home from the bank, and a SUV pulled up, and 3 looked like teenage boys jumped out of the car, ran up to her as she was getting out of her driveway, knocked her over her head, reached inside her car, and stole her wallet. And then they ran off and jumped back in the car. They are still looking for them today. So when I say teenagers have been running rampant throughout our community, again, not just these that were just arrested. Not just these. Now, again, a life was lost here. 64-year-old Mursal Jama, a refugee who fled the violence in Somalia to be unalive by a group of kids. That is really, really, really sad. Really sad. Really, really sad. Now, again, Keys have been charged with 6 felonies, including first-degree murder. Tisworth, Hunt, and Wilson both face an additional charge of unlawful possession of a firearm by a prohibited minor. Tisworth Hunt has been on probation since May. He was already on probation. Already on probation. 2 other juveniles, 11 and 13, are also charged with murder, but the 13-year-old cannot legally be charged as an adult because of his age. An 11-year-old can't even be detained or identified because he is legally too young. And of course, they can't release those names. They can't release those names. Now, the family, and I'm going to put a GoFundMe link underneath my video, because the family of the shooting victim remembers him as hardworking, kind, and patient, and they have set up a GoFundMe for the family. So before I read you the GoFundMe, though, I'm going to want to play you this last news clip, you guys, this last news clip, and then I'm going to get to the GoFundMe, and I'm going to drop that link in the chat. So let me go ahead and pull that news story up real quick.
Well, Cordesia, these kids were supposed to be getting ready for the start of the school year. Now they're facing life in prison, and if convicted for the murder of 64-year-old Uber driver who was just parking in his garage with shackles around his wrist and waist. Joseph Keys, just 14, was the first to appear in court Friday. He faces 6 felonies, the most serious being first-degree murder. Moments later, Trenton Titsworth Hunt, 17 years old, would be in that same chair. He faces 7 felonies. The additional charge is unlawful possession of a firearm by a prohibited person. Titsworth has been on probation since May of this year.
This defendant has a prior conviction for theft by receiving.
It's a similar story for Talon Wilson, the 5th person to be arrested in this case. He was detained 2 days after the shooting. He also faces the same 7 felonies as Titsworth. Wilson has been on probation since February and admitted he was on the run.
Mr. Wilson was then detained 2 days later. He had a firearm. He was also on video at that quick trip.
All are being held without bond. Prosecutors mapped out the movements of the minors. It starts Tuesday night when a crew of 6 ran up to 2 victims trying to take their car, but only getting away with a wallet and some money. The attack caught on camera.
Hey. Chill.
An hour later, gunfire. Prosecutors say 64-year-old Mursal Jama was sitting in his garage near 93rd and Katy after his shift as an Uber driver. That's when the teens carjacked Jama and shot him in the stomach. He later died. 2 other teens, one 11, the other 13, are facing similar charges in juvenile court.
What does an 11-year-old have to do hanging out with a 17-year-old or a 16-year-old?
It is an odd group, and when you think about the different ages of the individuals involved, and it's kind of that group mentality. Obviously, there's a lack of any kind of supervision.
And law enforcement are still working to locate that 6th suspect. Back to you. All right.
So as you see there, we got a glimpse of them in court and several of them being charged. And yes, those 6 juveniles, delinquents that were running rapid through the city. Some of them already was on probation. Some of them were running from the police, evading the police. And again, that 11-year-old, he had just been released and sent back home 14 days before this murder. Now, again, the victim Their family has set up a GoFundMe, and it's called Support the Family of Homicide Victim Mursala Jama. They were asking for $30,000, and so far they are at $22,686. So I shout out and commend all the people who have donated so far, because this is definitely a worthy cause. Now, I'm going to read what the family had to say on the GoFundMe. They said, starting off at the top, indeed we belong to Allah, and indeed to him we return. They said, Assalamu alaikum. It is with great sadness and disbelief that we announce the sudden and tragic passing of our father, Mursal Jama. He leaves behind his wife and 10 children, including his youngest, who are only 8 and 10 years old. On the night of Tuesday, August 13, our dad, Mursal, was shot and killed outside of our home in a tragic car robbery in Omaha. He was coming home from driving Uber when he was shot. He was rushed to Bergen Mercy Medical Center, where he was pronounced dead. For those who didn't know Mursal, he was the most hardworking, kind, and patient dad who did everything possible to create a better life for his kids. He was born in Somalia and arrived in the United States in 2007 as a refugee to build a brighter future for his family. As a devoted father, he loved his kids beyond measure. He was the primary breadwinner of his immediate family and the sole provider of several of his extended families back in Somalia. Mursal was not only an incredible father, but he was also a strong pillar in the Somali communities of Sioux City and Omaha. He was a devout Muslim who was donated to build mosques and schools in both of his communities and in Somalia. He has completed his pilgrimage to Haji just last July. Now we need your help. We created this GoFundMe to cover medical, funeral, and other expenses. Now more than ever, we need your support as we grieve the death of our beloved father. During this difficult time, we will be grateful if we could pull together as a community to help our family and dad. This can be done through dual and, if possible, donations on his behalf. If you are unable to donate, please consider sharing this link or keep our family in your thoughts and prayers. Thank you for your support. And again, I'll be posting that link in the description box as well. I'm going to pin it to the top in the comment sections of this video. You guys, again, we have to do something about these juvenile delinquents, the ones that we don't want to send to centers, or we can't send to jail, or we can't do this, or we can't do that. Something has to be done. And again, my condolences to the family of this wonderful man. It seems like he was a wonderful, wonderful man, wonderful husband, father, community leader, Mursal Jama, who was killed during a carjacking on August 13th by some juvenile delinquents. You guys, please make sure you like and share this video. Subscribe to the Hood Table. If you are not already subscribed, please and thank you. Also, feel free to join the membership. If you want to join our membership, all you got to do is click the join button. And also, if you want to donate to the commentary, again, our Cash App is $ the Hood Table 402 is right there at the bottom of the screen. Stay safe, be blessed, remain vigilant at all times, and always remember to keep it hood. I'm out.